I'm United and Inter. Arsenal had a good weekend, didn't they, really? In terms of Lewis-Skelly all week getting ridiculous abuse, and we all saw it. It was sickening, really. But he probably put in one of the best debut performances we've seen in a while. Youngest goal scorer in a debutant goal scorer in English football history. Probably going to start again tonight against Latvia. It's been an amazing week. I mean, with the backdrop of, I would say, the most amount of abuse I've ever seen a debutant given by random scumbags online. But Lewis-Skelly delivered, didn't he?
He did, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy for this kid, man. I love this kid. I think he's been one of the very, very few positives that Arsenal fans can get behind so far this season. It's been a disappointing season. I know it's not over yet, and we could still mathematically win the league, and of course we could win the Champions League. But looking at things realistically, it's not been the best of seasons. When I look at the positives, him and Ethan coming through have been definitely positives, and he's been the shining light. And Miles Lewis-Skelly has taken his chance, and my boy, when he got it, he's definitely taken it now. Brilliant ball from Jude, I've got to say. Great finish. And you know what? I love everything about how grounded he was, because people have made out that this kid's some horrible, arrogant little scumbag prick. And I don't know why they believe that, just by doing a celebration to try and wind up Erling Haaland, which everybody at the time laughed at and loved. Now, all of a sudden, he's a wanker for doing it. I still think a lot of it is racism, if I'm honest. I do. Whenever England have a bad result, on the back pages is Saka or Jude Bellingham or Raheem Sterling or Marcus Rashford. It's never Harry Kane. It's never John Stones. It's always those guys. And I'm seeing it again now with these shockingly bad things on Twitter or X about a kid who they don't really know anything about yet, because he's literally just burst onto the scene, as Michael Richards would say, right? So when I look now, I think he's taken his chance for club and country. And right now, he is the starting left back for England. And I think that he should be, because he's been phenomenal for Arsenal. He has a great debut for England. And I loved the interview. I thought he was humble. I thought he was grounded. He's just excited. You could see how much of a smile he had on him. Declan Rice was like a proud big brother. Thought both of them spoke really well. And I've got to be real, I don't really understand where this hate has come from, if I'm honest. I can only put it towards, people won't like me saying it, but I can only put it towards racism. I don't know what else it is, because this guy has literally just come onto the scene. How can you hate on a player at 18 years old who's literally got the world at his feet, who can go on to be a very good player, and you're putting that much abuse towards him? What is the reason? Yes, it might be.
Can I tell you the reason?
Yeah? They might hate Arsenal. I get it. But come on, man. The guy did a celebration. Wow.
I'm going to tell you the reason, then, and people don't admit it. It's jealousy. A lot of kids and people these days are jealous of an 18 years old. You watch his football and you can tell that he's a very good footballer. Composed. Yes, he got 2 red cards and all of this, but you can tell that he's a very good player. It's jealousy. An 18 years old, having his debut, scoring a goal. And to be honest with you, I don't care what he does outside the pitch, as long as it doesn't affect him on the pitch. You can tell he's not humble. He's not your friend. With all due respect to everyone, he's not your friend. He's not your friend. He's a football player that plays football, right? And he plays good for the club or for the country. So why are you hating on him? To be honest, it's just people being jealous.
Yeah. Why do people being tribalistic? He hasn't come out and said he's done it all. People always thinks he's done it all. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, but he never did this.
Yeah, but do you know where that comes from, Potsy? This is the problem with it. This all stems from. I was looking for this cushion the whole time. It was above my head. This all stems. Jamie Carragher, as a case in point, is massively responsible for this. He has a massive percentage of the responsibility, along with the broadcasters he works for. Ironically, Jamie Carragher was also one of the, in my opinion, chief components in why the public opinion of Raheem Sterling changed 10 or so years ago. I remember I listened to Jamie Carragher. It was either on Sky or it was TalkSport. But I also think he had an article that came out about Raheem Sterling, which when Raheem Sterling was looking to leave Liverpool and join City, he was someone who framed it as, who do you think you are? This is about money and greed as opposed to legacy and football and winning, which ironically turns out to be such a stupid thing to say with him joining City and winning what he did. But it painted this picture, and it wasn't just Carragher. There was others that did it, but Carragher stands out because he's been a massive voice in the footballing world in this country now for over a decade. Raheem Sterling was booed by non-Liverpool fans the first 3 or 4 years in a City shirt, all because people like Jamie Carragher painted this picture that he is this greedy little mercenary that's doing it for money. You then have the media onslaught attacking him every single which way, and it was an abomination the way that Raheem Sterling was cheated. And what it then does, it's a dog whistle to some people, as you say, that are racist, that they want a reason to attack someone of Lewis-Skelly's background. But this way they can go, right, I've got something here that I can slag him off and attack him with, but I don't have to use racial slurs. So I can't lose my job, right? I can't be called something because I can just say he's an arrogant prick because Jamie Carragher or Gary Neville or Alan Brazil has said it. So I can just repeat what they say. It's been pumped out to millions of people. So it's not like I'm making this random comment out of nowhere. And the media have done a very similar thing with Lewis-Skelly. And it is sickening to see for me. He mocked Erling Haaland, yes. But as professional football players, he's on that pitch with them. And these are the same pundits, by the way, who say when you're old enough, you're good enough. And if you're in the team, you should be criticized like everybody else. So they'll criticize a young player when they play badly, like they're an experienced player. But yet when that young player has a little bit of fun, the way they reacted, this is wrong and this is disgraceful, is crazy. Go on to TalkSport's website and search Lewis-Skelly's name. The volume of videos after his red card and after that celebration, it was like every 2 or 3 videos for days was about Lewis-Skelly. The man became the youngest debutant fucking goal scorer this country's ever had on Friday. Do you know how many snippet clips have been put on their page about him since then? 1. That is the media agenda there, whether they mean to do it or not. When something goes wrong for him or when he's being criticized, it's published. So some of the criticism will just be, well, this must be a real problem in football. Why would so many pundits and journalists attack it? People latch onto it. You got the undercover racists, as already mentioned. When I say undercover, they don't wear a label on their head. They say things in a little bit of a disguise, and it's irresponsible. This is still an 18-year-old lad, and I'm going to say a lad. I'm nearly a 40-year-old man. This is a young lad who has got his feet on the ground. He's working hard trying to play his trade, but the way he's being treated already by the mainstream media is crazy. And I know, Gooners, you guys aren't happy with everything at your club, and I know that you want to push back, but he is a case in point. You have got to protect him. Criticize him when he has a bad game. But you know, there might be some week where he might deserve a bit of criticism. But do you know what you got to do? You just got to leave it. Because there is a target on this young man's back now for multiple reasons. And I think as a fan base, you have got to now do for him what Man United did for David Beckham in 1998. It was a case of, didn't matter who was good or bad in a game, we sung our hearts out for him. We backed him no matter what because we knew there was a target on his back. And Lewis-Skelly's getting that treatment. And the maddest part is Beckham got sent off in a massive game for England. So I can understand the element of the backlash, right? Lewis-Skelly scored a goal and did a celebration. It's absolutely mad the way he is being treated. And I was really chuffed for him. I was also even happy that, you know, he plays. Someone said to me, oh, you're just secret Arsenal fan. No, I'm an England fan, you morons. He plays for my country. So he's one of my players as well. And yeah, I just don't like the way he's being treated at all. And I think some of it is
this is why England don't win
jealousy. It's true. It's true.
Well, this is why England don't win anything, because we did this with Rooney, we did it with Terry, we did it with Gerrard, we did it with Beckham, we do it with Kane. He shouldn't play. He's finished. He's watched. He's still our best striker. Do you know what I mean? I can't stand him, but he's still our best striker. And we're now doing it with an 18-year-old who's just burst onto the scene. Yes, some of it's jealousy. I actually, with Mo there, I actually do agree with what Mo said there. But a lot of it, Terry, I mean, that TalkSport thing, that example you gave is absolutely bang on. He gets sent off against Wolves, and by the way, it got rescinded, and there was everything all over the back pages. And then when he scores on his debut, it's like, oh yeah, that was pretty good, wasn't it? Right. Who should we slag off today then? And it's like, come on a minute, hang on a minute. This guy literally deserves all the plaudits he's got. He has been put in the names of Rooney and Owen, yeah, in terms of the goals he scored at that age. So for me, with good company, he's got, I believe, his feet on the ground. I think he's grounded. He might have to cut out some of his little bite, but I quite like that. I think that's what makes him, in my opinion. I don't want him getting sent off every game. But for me, he's going to be a talented kid. And I think with him and Lewis Hall, we've got 2 decent left backs now for England finally.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very, very talented young man. And you only got to listen to his mum talk. I saw an interview, his mum speaking.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it's it depends if you are from around the world. I'm from the South, right? And I listen to his mum talk, and I'm like, she just sounds like all the grounded mums that I remember being, where I was at a football club, whether it was the kickboxing club where I was at, you could always tell the kids that had the good parents, and she sounds like one of them. And I don't know how to articulate that any better than that. It's just a feeling of, you can tell that if he got a little bit big for his boots or was cutting some corners, you know she'd be on his neck before the manager, before the fans. And I think you can just tell by her mannerisms and the way the way she holds herself. And the reason why I think that's such an important thing is, again, the media have tried to make out, well, what's he got around him? Is he going to be backed, or is he going to have a lot of people that are going to lead him astray? And again, I don't see those conversations, typically speaking, when it's a young white player. Young black player, Ethan Nwaneri went through the same thing. Oh, should he have had his debut at 15? Is he going to be able to control himself? Is he going to get fame? Is he got the right people around him that will stop him getting too big for his boots? So, hang on a minute. Why are you singling these two out? You put more narratives into it. Jamie Carragher, again, he did this whole thing on the overlap. Yeah, the manager keeps him in separate dressing rooms. I think that's his way of saying, guys, remember, don't get too arrogant, eh? No, they're in different set dressing rooms because they're both 18 now, but they were 17 at the beginning of the season, and they're not allowed in the dressing room with the men. It's against the law, right? Safeguarding, right? And you're sitting there and you're like, the reason he kept Lewis-Skelly in the dressing room with Ethan Nwaneri is because he thought, well, I'll keep you have some company during getting changed. But the way it was twisted into, yeah, Arteta's got to do that to stop their arrogance, blowing up. And for me, you need to be very, very careful with the picture that you try and paint of these young men, and I've not been a fan of the coverage at all, because the thing is with Nwaneri and Lewis-Skelly, what has there really been to criticize about them? Nothing. They've been really good.
The celebration.
The celebration. That's about it. It's crazy. And actually, you can say that it's victim mentality whatsoever, but it's not victim mentality at all. If, for instance, they were out doing a madness, oh my God, they've been caught in nightclubs. They didn't turn up to training twice because they were out with girls. I'm making these examples up here. If, for instance, he did the celebration, then afterwards they're like, oh, why did you do the celebration? If he was on camera and said, because I think Haaland's an overrated League Two bum, King was right, he's a League Two level player. If they'd have said and done things like that, I could possibly understand it, because you'd be like, hang on, that's a bit unprofessional, right? But there's been nothing. There is no tangible example of any wrongdoing by either of these young men. But yet they're being painted out to be difficult to control. They have to be pushed into separate dressing rooms to be kept humble. That's a terrible narrative.
And it's stereotype. To be honest with you, just the last thing is stereotype. Because it's really stereotype. And the reason why I'm saying that, because a moment came to my mind, and I'm not saying either are right or wrong. Like, to be honest with you, either just normal. When they asked Cole Palmer in the interview, do you practice these things? And he's like, no, it just comes to intuition. I don't think about it. No one labeled him as arrogant. People said, oh, it's genius. It's brilliant. Look at the pure talent. But when Lewis-Skelly is happy because he's playing as an 18 years old for Arsenal or for England, scoring a goal, don't stay humble. It's basically stereotype, because basically this guy is basically a person of color, and this guy is not. So it's basically stereotype. You're labeling someone because of an action different than the other person just because of the skin color. It's basically stereotype and bigotry, to be honest. It's just, and it's very obvious. It's very obvious. They do it, by the way, they do it for every other thing, by the way. People go to clubs, as Terry said, this person is being labeled as a troublemaker when he goes to the club, but this person is not, and people know who I'm talking about because of their skin color. This person is not white, this person is white. So this person must be okay to go to the club and have a night out, but this person shouldn't. You have to be consistent. If you want to, like,
well, you see it a lot with sort of, you see it with Jack Grealish. When Jack Grealish is seen pissed outside a pub, everybody's like, "Whoa,
he's having fun, the Yes, I saw that.
Rashford did what he did in Belfast. Now, I wasn't happy with what Rashford did because it's my club and I wanted him to be in training. Okay, but it's that. But the way the media twisted that, it wasn't, oh, look, he's a boy, isn't he? He's a boy. He's out there giving it. But there is 110%. And it's even the sort of aggression thing they're trying to do with Lewis-Skelly. Like, oh, he's 2 red cards. He's 2 red cards. He's had 1 red card because 1 was rescinded because it shouldn't have been. And the other was for denying a goal-scoring opportunity by pulling someone back. They're trying to make him sound violent. They're trying to make him sound overly aggressive. And it's just, it's horrible. And even the commentator on the England game, You know, he has had 2 red cards. He's got to be careful. Why do they keep pushing that lie? By the way, just so everyone knows, I defended Garnacho in the same way a few weeks ago. When he was slagged off for walking down the tunnel, when he got subbed off after the red card, we were all as, oh, that's wrong. He shouldn't have done that. Then the footage came out where he turned around. He literally said to the bench, did that with his shirt, said, I'm soaking. I'm going to go and change it and I'll be back. Literally did it. The whole world saw it. All Man United fans went, there's no problem here. The next 2 games, the commentators, one on Sky, one on TNT Sport, literally said, I wonder if he gets subbed off today where he'll storm down the tunnel. So hang on, where's your research? And commentators sit there and say they do like 6-7 hours of research before any game and they write all those little notes down. How have you not come across that? Why are you still pushing the lie and the narrative that he stormed off doin the box? Gary Neville did it to Bruno. Bruno's asking to be subbed off when we went 5-0 down to Liverpool. No, he didn't. He didn't. The footage came out. He didn't ask for it. Never got readdressed. For weeks, that narrative was still pushed. And as football fans, I don't think we should jump on these bandwagons. It's wrong. This year says, as a black person, I hate it when we jump to the Raycast needlessly. This seems more of a media being negative about him related to Arsenal because that brings engagement. Nothing was said about Gueye, Rodgers, Jones, Colwell. Look, I'll say this, and you're entitled to have that view and opinion. I said it last week and I'll say it again. There's a percentage of this that's 100% because he's a young, successful black man. And what I mean by that is when he's being painted as arrogant or aggressive or thinks he's Billy Big Bollocks, there are people that will jump on that. And they won't tweet this, they won't say this, but you know, I've grown up in England. I've seen the people. Typical. That's what they'll do. Usual suspect.
Stereotype.
And all that stereotyping. But you're absolutely right. There is also a percentage that just hate him because he's also an Arsenal player. And that's why, and by the way, I've seen some Arsenal fans also not quite going on him, but they don't like their own football club and they've kind of joined in with rivals. And I'm just saying, be careful and protect this young man. So I do agree with you that not everybody that's criticizing Lewis-Skelly is doing it because of the color of his skin, but let us not pretend that some are. And you need to be very careful of the narratives you paint because some people will get dog's abuse for it. And look, and not every player goes through the same experience either. Not every player was treated by the media like Raheem Sterling was. You know, it's often a player or 2 get singled out. And I think it's important to call it out. But respect your view and your opinion and super chat, my friend. Respect you 2 guys for calling it like it is on racism. It's so interesting the different perspectives you get from different viewers. Yeah. But that's why we're here having these conversations. R9 before the injury, best player ever to Latham.
Yeah, I agree. R9.
Very good. But they always say availability is the best ability, so maybe not. I'm being controversial.
Actually, that's against him, yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but he got back-to-back ACL, so it's unfortunate.
I always remember as well, Ronaldinho, in an interview, he said something, this is when he was still playing properly, like late 20s. They were asking him about his career, and he was basically saying it's getting harder because I love to drink beer too much. And I also think this is where, like Messi and Ronaldo, this is why they were so different from all those other greats, is they just were like, I'm going to play forever as long as I can. So they drunk water only ate healthy foods. Where I think the R9, absolutely, when he was injured, that man weren't eating the right food. He wasn't drinking the right stuff. And I don't think all of that is a decision, but there we go.
R9's the best striker I've ever seen for me. R9.
Can I tell you the truth? We can have a discussion.
I love Henry, but
R9 is the best player I've ever seen in my life.
Unbelievable.
Like I've never seen someone plays ball like him. Not Cristiano, not Messi, to be honest.
No,
he's the best striker I've ever seen.
He was fantastic. Yeah. He had absolutely all of it. And Aya here says, I might be burying my head in the sand. Maybe I believe that I don't need other races' acknowledgement to feel better about myself. And listen, I am not going to tell anyone how they should think or feel about an emotive like that. I wouldn't dare to. I agree with where you're coming from. I do think there's also a big percentage that it's because he's an Arsenal player and it is fashionable online to shit on Arsenal. I don't think it's just one thing. And that's often with these conversations. It's never just like, I know people that would criticize Sancho at Man United and I could smell an undertone. There are other people that I know that would criticize him and they're criticizing him because they really meant that those were issues there. And I think it's just about, I think you can tell the difference sometimes, if I'm being honest. Like someone quote tweeting saying, look at this arrogant prick, look how he's dressed. I want to punch that CUNT on the nose. For me, that's not because he's an Arsenal player. That's that's as a stench to it, my friend. But that's just my personal opinion.